Here's a secret that will leave you feeling better physically, mentally, as well as emotionally. Are you ready for it? The key is setting boundaries. Here are 8 types of boundaries that you need to set in your daily life. Number 1, time boundaries. This involves setting time aside for things that you actually love and saying no to things that you don't enjoy doing, or saying no to extra work overload or things that just leave you feeling drained. Time boundaries are super crucial at work, but they're also super important in your daily life. When you spend too much of your time doing things that you don't enjoy doing, this is when you have to draw a boundary and say, no, this activity does not deserve my time. Number 2, energy and emotional boundaries. This may sound simple, but it's very important that you only give your energy to people who are not toxic, people who don't drain you out, people who make you feel like you are worth it, and actually people who are happy with everything that you do in life and are happy in your success. This also involves setting boundaries with people who drain you out emotionally, people who are not willing to understand you, people who are not willing to understand the way you function and are simply toxic on a day to day basis. I'll give you an example. If you have friends around you who are constantly complaining how you are not giving them time, even though you meet them often, or there are people who complain about how you don't stay in touch on a day to day basis because you are too busy making a life for yourself, or whatever it might be, you want to make sure that you are not surrounded by such people. People who are really your friends, people who matter, people who really want to understand you are the type of people normally with positive energy, and these are the type of people you want to surround yourself with. If you find yourself in a situation where your circle is toxic or people who are draining energy from you, it's time to maybe say, I draw my emotional boundary here and I'm taking a step back. Number 3, mental boundaries. This is also super crucial. As I like to call it, there has to be a peace circle around you, and nobody should be able to disrupt this peace circle. If this means you have to walk away from conversations or news or situations that disrupt your mental peace, then so be it. You should definitely do it. Number 4, setting physical boundaries. These type of boundaries not only protect you when it comes to your body, but also protect your personal space. Start saying no to people whose presence doesn't feel right. Not only that, if you find yourself engaging in activities that drain you physically and you don't really enjoy the activity at all and you're doing it for the sake of it, start saying no. Number 5, financial boundaries. You might find yourself in situations where you're spending more than you had hoped for, or you find yourself in situations where you're constantly overspending for someone else. Make sure that you have these financial boundaries defined in your mind, and you can actually go ahead and say, hey, I'm not comfortable spending X amount, or I'm not comfortable spending on this and this type of activity simply because it doesn't align with me. More often than not, you will find yourself in situations where people understand. People understand that not everyone is comfortable with spending X amount. It's not only important to draw that boundary for other people, but doing so yourself will create a budget in your mind, will create a setup in your mind where you'll say, okay, these are the means that I have. This is the amount of resources that I have. How do I want to spend it? You define these boundaries for yourself, but make sure that you are following them. Number 6, informational boundaries. As you grow older, you realize that not everybody needs to know everything that's happening in your life. Make sure you're surrounded by people who are happy for you, and then feel free to share what you want to share, but make sure that you are not sharing each and every detail of your life with each and every person that you meet. Let me give you an example from my personal life. I used to have certain friends in the past who were, as I like to call it, good weather friends. And they'd always end up asking me what's new in my life, what's happening, and I tend to share. But then when I would ask them what is happening with their life, they'd be like, oh, everything's great, everything's awesome. And then the conversation would end at that. This more often than not left me feeling drained, and it made me question whether I am oversharing or if they are not sharing enough. Over a period of time, you realize as you mature that not everyone needs to know every single detail of your life, and you can keep certain information simply to yourself. Number 7, relationship boundaries. These might be one of the most difficult ones to set because you're more often than not engaged in a situation where you absolutely love your partner and don't know how to say no. Having said that, it's very important to learn how to say no in your relationship, whether it is saying no to a physical touch, or whether it is saying no to a certain activity, or whether it is just simply saying no to things that you're not comfortable doing. Number 8, digital boundaries. I know, being on social media myself, this might sound crazy, but hear me out. These boundaries define how you spend your time with your gadgets and with the content that you consume. While it's absolutely okay to do mindless scrolling, it's also important to surround yourself with influencers and content creators who are actually teaching you something. Social media is not going anywhere, so we might as well start using it for our own benefits. If you find yourself being surrounded by content which is simply memes and trolls and whatnot, that's absolutely okay on certain days, but then you can define days, or you can define hours, or you can define certain time slots saying, in the morning, I will educate myself, or in the evenings, I will educate myself. But make sure that you are using the tool which is so, so, so powerful, and make sure that you're using it for the right reasons. Personally, I love certain channels and I absolutely love learning from them, and I hope you find yours too. Let me know if you like this video and follow me for more.